back to Cross Stitch the Globe. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Allison.
And this is a channel about cross stitch. We have 3 kinds of videos on our channel. Today is Flosstube University, where we're trying to do A to Z of how to cross stitch on YouTube. And today's topic is how to load a hoop, which Allison, after 7 years of stitching, still prefers a hoop. We have the other kinds of videos we have on our channel are regular Flosstube episodes, which we will literally be recording next and which will have already come out when you see this. So we'll be wearing the same shirts. Don't tell anyone. And Flosstube episodes are deep dives into our personal stitching. Everything we've touched in the last 2 weeks is literally piled around us, and they're really fun. And if you've never seen one before, definitely check them out. It's a great way to get to know like designers and fabrics and all kinds of stuff if you're new.
Yeah, we mentioned other floss tubers, so if you like us, you might like them. It's a good way to check it out. So.
And then the third kind of video we have are Flosstube extras, which are topics that we just don't have room for anywhere else. And the next ones we'll be recording will be a bunch of free pattern videos. So subscribe if you want free stuff or to learn about the cross stitch community, or you want more beginner cross stitch tutorials in your feed. All right. Now, Allison, we did these a little bit out of order. Normally people start with a hoop.
Yeah.
And then move on to something like this, which is Q-snap. But I already did some Q-snap videos because you were really sick.
Very sick.
And we couldn't film together.
That would have been bad for both of us.
So I did 3 videos about like what are Q-snaps and how to load them and how to put them together. We're only gonna do, and we've already also done a video about vintage hoops, like that are the kind that you don't screw top. And I will link to all those videos in the description. So if you are like, oh, the world of cross stitch items is bigger than just craft store hoops, you can go to the description.
Yeah.
But most people, myself included, and you have never moved on, start with a screw top hoop. Now, you are holding one that's from a craft store.
This is your generic, I mean, like the tag's still on it with $3.50. That's generic $3.50 hoop.
And I'm holding one of Allison's that was a gift from our friend Beck, which is a vintage screw top hoop. So it looks a little different, but it operates and it feels a little bit heavier. And
it's a different kind of wood. It's definitely, this is like a pressed.
But it's in terms of like stitching with it, the same process to load and unload.
Yeah.
So Allison, queen of the hoops, so Allison's going to show us how she loads fabric, what she does with her excess fabric, and how she unloads her fabric, and then she's going to share any bits of wisdom that she's learned in 7 years that we may not, as commoners, may not know.
Okay, so I'm going to load this piece of linen. Now, loading linen and loading Aida, same thing. You'll just find when you're tightening it, you'll have to pull more on the Aida to get it stretched.
And if you were so new at cross stitch that you didn't know there were different kinds of fabric people stitch on, I will link to our fabric series where we talk about what types of like fabrics are out there and like counts and measurements and everything. So if you're like, I only have a piece of Aida, what are you talking about? Yeah. We have videos on that.
Yeah, and this applies to Aida. So it's just the linen is just like more floppy, so it's easier to wrap around things.
Oh, interesting.
But okay, so what you do is the part with the screw is the top, so it would go on the top of the fabric, and then the circle is the bottom. You need to line your stitching up so that it's not directly butted up against it, because you'll have a hard time getting your needle, like it'll be very uncomfortable if you're too close to the edge. So I do it like, if that's my corner, I would have loaded it. Well, I used a smaller hoop, I guess, because it was in the corner. But let's say I'll finish working on this side. So that's about where I would do it. This is the edge of it, and then I could start my needle right here.
And we haven't done a video about fabric margins yet, which we will get to. But you can see that her stitching does not go to the edge of her fabric because it's almost impossible to, besides the fact that like framing's a nightmare and like everything else.
Yeah.
It's really hard to stitch on the edge of your fabric.
Right, you have to go a little bit further in. You need a margin. Okay, so then I've got it centered where I want it. Take the top, and it's unscrewed, so it's not tight at all. It goes in and out. And you place it above, you place it above the fabric so that it just clips right on to the bottom one and pinches your fabric in between. But this is really loose, right? So it's just barely centered in there. And then what you do is you'll have the whole process of tightening it. So it's pretty loose. You want tension. So to get the tension, I can't, the angles are weird. Okay. So then I would gently pull until it's a little bit tighter. And then every time I do that, I would do another screw and it'll tighten up a little bit. So I do a little bit and then you stretch it a little bit and then turn it a little bit more and stretch it a little bit more until it's the tension that you want.
I didn't know that you did it in those kind of steps. That's
how
why
you do
you're
it.
the queen of hoops. Because I would just put my fabric in and then tighten it and then maybe adjust it if I noticed there was a problem, but I didn't think about like, oh, you have to adjust it every time. I haven't used screw top hoops in like over a year.
Right. So then, yeah, see, because it's a little bit puckered there, just pull that out a little bit and then it'll twist a little bit more. And you just do that until it's exactly how you want it.
Now,
I like it a little bit looser, which is interesting because the craft store ones will be a little bit looser, I feel. From my experience, they've been a little bit looser than when I tried the vintage one with the thicker wood. So there is a difference, and I just found that out, and that's the only reason I'm telling you. But this is how I do it. This is how I learned, and I love, and I'm gonna keep doing it like this. So.
She's borrowed things from me, and it's just like, no, I'm not doing that. So that's called stitching at the top of the well or the top of the drum. If you want to stitch at the bottom of the drum, then you would just literally load your fabric, but you would start stitching on the other side. So, and the benefits of that are, like, it keeps your stuff cleaner, it's easier to finish, like, threads sometimes. Most people, I think probably statistically, most people stitch at the top, but it's not uncommon for people to stitch at the bottom. And you would load it the same, like the first time, and then the second time you would you would flip the fabric the other direction so that it was on the bottom.
Any questions?
What do you do with your excess fabric?
Okay, so you see all of this. Well, if you're gonna stitch it, it's gonna get in the way. So what I do is I roll it up, and then you have to find a way to like keep it there so when it doesn't get in the back of your stitching. So there are a couple things that you can, or that I do. The first one is right here. The first one is using these, they're magnetic wires.
I will link to these in the description.
I think they're to keep cords organized, like computer cords and stuff. Yeah, but they work great to put one, and they're magnetic. You put one on one side, one on the other side, and then it keeps it wrapped up for you. Neat. And this is the small size, but you can get larger ones. So if you have a lot of fabric, you can get the bigger ones to hold it there. And I really like this. You can use it instead of a needle minder too, because it's magnetic. So very handy.
And if you don't know what a needle minder is, because you're literally that new to cross stitch, we have a whole video on like what's a needle minder, and like you can buy them, but we also have videos on if you want to make them.
Yeah. And then I'm showing you on this one because it's already put together. But this is another way I do it, so that you can roll it up and then just put a straight pin in it. And I don't know how everybody does it, but I do it upside down so that that part won't stick me as I'm going up. Oh. So I've done that before. But just a straight pin right here. And I'm okay with doing that on this one specifically because I know this fabric will not be used. This ornament ends like here. So none of this will be used. It's just keeping it there so that I have something to hold on to.
And this is obviously not a hoop, but in the video about how to use Q-snaps, I talked all about my Wonder Clip method. It's a little cheaper than magnetic ties. It's obviously more expensive than pens, but it's not quite as neat and pretty, but it does the trick too. So if you're more interested in something that's kind of in the middle, there's that. Which you would do on hoops too. Just, I don't have any hoops that are hooped right now.
I have been told that there are grind guards for hoops that would help with the fabric, holding the fabric around the hoop. Never used it. So
grind guards are things that you like, they're really common for Q-snaps. They like fit around it. But I was told that the like steering wheel ones fit this perfectly, so I bet and they're obviously round to begin with, so it makes sense there'd be ones for hoops, but we haven't.
I have not used any grind guards to keep my fabric in or at all, but it would make sense that would work.
All right, do you want to take
you
the fabric, unload it,
okay.
take the fabric out?
So to unload it, you only have to do is reverse your screw. So just unscrew it, and it's not, just unscrew it, and it comes out. And then you got to iron hoop.
Yeah, some people take them out all the time and iron all the time. Some people never iron their projects because they feel like it changes the tension of the threads or something. We iron our projects every 2 weeks because we iron before we film. But there's also debates about should you take your project out of your hoop or your Q-snap every night or every few nights or never. And I tend to do I tend to do when I know I'm not going to stitch on it in the next few days. Mm-hmm. But obviously, the longer you leave it in a hoop or a Q-snap, the harder that crease gets.
I know that this will disappear because I just ironed this. And I'm going to go re-iron it. So I know it'll come out, no problem. But.
Do you have any other secret hoop tips?
Should I load an 801 just so they know it's the same?
It's the same.
It's the same.
But how do you? Because you have like specific preferences about what size of hoops you like. How did you decide what? Because Allison will stitch the biggest project on still on the smallest hoops, and that's some people do that, and some people want bigger hoops for bigger projects.
So there's one size bigger than this that I used before. That's a 9. I think it's an 8-inch.
8-inch. You don't like that? That's the one you gave me all of them.
Yeah, I just gave her all of them because then I discovered this one, and this is a great size. I got this one to see if I wanted it even smaller, but this one is harder to hold. So it turns out that
you
this
like a 6-inch.
One, yeah, I like a 6-inch. Yep.
Because when I use vintage hoops, the size would be the same, and I really like a 7 or an 8.
That's
There are hoops, even craft store hoops that are ovals. I really like an oval, but if in circles,
and
7
I've never
or
tried
8-inch are my favorite.
I have tried an oval. I've tried a tiny oval.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
But they don't sell the wooden ones in the craft stores. The ones in the craft stores that are ovals are plastic.
Yeah.
But in vintage hoops, there's a lot of oval, vintage hoops. So, and again, if you're curious about vintage hoops, beyond this one, you can go check out that video.
Yeah, and this is the first. Thanks, Beck. This is the first time I'd seen one that was an older screw top, and I just think that was so cool.
I think I have a few other older screw tops that I'll bring over, and you can decide what you want. Because she doesn't keep things she doesn't actually want to use, so she wouldn't keep it to keep it. But you can decide if they're things you want to use.
Sounds good.
Any other tips?
Use what you like. Oh, another reason I do like these much more than Q, and made it harder to like the Q-snap, is they're very light. You're stitching, you'll notice you're stitching, I don't get tired as fast, and it's just easier to hold, and so there is a big difference in weight.
And if you're very new to stitching and you literally have never done this before, most people start with the hoop, and then if you see other things that intrigue you, try them. But also there are stitchers who have been at this for years and years who never want, I think it's really important that that you still only want to use mostly craft store hoops. And because I think so many times it's oh, well, you got to have this thing, you got to have this thing.
Oh, to be cool?
Yeah, you don't actually. You can use what you want to use that you like.
You want to use, yeah. Whatever feels comfortable.
Yeah,
whatever
if you don't have the latest, coolest, newest thing, doesn't matter.
I guess I've never tried a scroll rod, and I think that would be something cool to try. Yeah. But I'm not going to commit to saying that might be what.
I think at some point on my chatelaine, because right now chatelaine, if you're new, is it's a design company, but this piece of fabric is this big, and I think at some point I would like it on a scroll rod, but if it fits into
that's just
while I'm working in this space, what's the point?
Yeah. So my Lady of the Flag would have probably been good on a scroll rod. Yeah. Whatever.
Maybe at the point at which I get to beating a big project, then I'll want to. We'll see.
Anyway.
But so craft store hoops are wonderful. They're a great place to start. Yeah. You do not ever have to graduate past them.
And it's economical. If you just want to try it, and you can try a different size for another $350,
and also, if you don't like the new size, you can take it back.
You can do that as well.
I have taken back many because I bought like a bunch of hoops and then realized I wanted vintage hoops.
Yeah.
Because
I told you, I said, this is what you need. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. But I ended up deciding that I really liked vintage hoops, which are similar in concept, but very different in like how they feel to use. So I had like 12 unused, like 8-inch hoops that I gave you the ones I had used, which you just gave back to me.
I gave them back.
But I took all the other like unused ones back and they just took them back.
Yeah.
It's hard to return a Q-snap once you open that package.
Yeah.
So.
But this is just one more way to make cross-stitching economical because it does not have to be an expensive hobby. $3.50, Ada. My friend gave this to me so it was free, but this is like a $4 piece of Ada. Yeah. Well, not this one because it's colored.
Like we have ways to make cross-stitching
you
not
can do
economical.
It. You can do it.
You can do it economically.
Economically, and I did for quite some time, and it was awesome. So.
And
now I'm broke, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I don't know what our next. Oh, yes, I do. Our next tutorial is going to be. It may not be out next Thursday because we might need to. We kind of backed up now on extras that we need to put out that because of timeliness. So the next time we do a tutorial, it might be next week might be an extra. But then the next tutorial is going to be like ideas beyond Q-snaps and hoops, just to tell you what exists out there, and then you can. But they're not things we use, so it's not like we're going to be giving tips. But like, if you've never heard of a scroll rod, like what is a scroll rod, like things like that. So subscribe if you're not subscribed. Check out our Flosstubes. The most previous video from this one will be the one we're about to record. So we'd love if you subscribe.
Who knows what we said?
If you made it to this point in the video. I picked out an emoji for Flosstube and forgot to pick out an emoji for this. If you made it to this point in the video, leave any emoji with like a circle. I know some of them have little circles, or just the letter O by itself also counts for a hoop. All right, thanks so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.